Hello, welcome to Alyssa Jean's Reviews. And I am Alyssa Jean, the white wine queen. What? I'm drinking white wine. I never drink white wine. In fact, I think I might have said on my first one, which was a year ago, that my first live stream, that I was only ever going to do reds. I definitely strongly prefer red wines by a lot. But um, I don't know. It's the year anniversary of these live streams with wine, so I figured I may as well mix it up a little and do a white wine. This is a um, Sauv Blanc, Sauvignon Blanc. Um, Not a particularly exciting label, but Jacqueline Beauh. No, Bahue. However you pronounce that. It's a, it is a Sauvignon. Oh no, I said Cabernet, but Sauvignon Blanc, California. I don't know anything about white wines. I never drink them. I prefer the ones that are not sweet, drier white wines. Um. So, Maddie, you're wrong about your guess because you never would have guessed I would have white wine because I never drink white wine. I've never drinking it before on these streams. Um, yeah, I misspent the youth. Yeah, I can drink them every once in a while. Every once in a while. I'm more of a red wine person though. Um, Also, as you can see, I am coming to you from my new wine room where I have all of my wine and my barrels. And obviously, I'm in front of a green screen, as you can tell by my little green hair. But I've had to do something different. I'm doing more green screens. I'm trying more green screens on StreamYard. I can get them to look halfway decent on StreamYard. I have more of a green halo than I would like, but I didn't really have time to mess with it a lot before I came on. I didn't want to keep you guys waiting, so I just have a green halo. That's fine. But I got this green screen when I first started doing Alyssa Jean's reviews, and I tried to do some videos. If you go back and watch my early Star Trek videos from when my channel first started, like my top 10 Next Generation, and my top 10 TOS, and my top 10, I think my top 10 Deep Space Nine as well. I have a green screen where I'm in front of the stars, and then my early like Marvel reviews, like all the first things that I did on this channel. So my WandaVision review, my Falcon and the Winter Soldier review, I have a green screen, but I was using this program called VideoPad, and I could just never get it to look good. So I just gave up on it and just said, "Fuck it! I'm just always going to have that, boring tapestry behind me that I always have." Um, but Yeah, with StreamYard, I can sometimes get it to look decent. So I'm doing it again. Or you can forget everything I just said and just pretend that I am in my secret wine room. So I have a bookshelf in my apartment that if you pull out just the right book, it opens up and goes into this wine room that I am in now. Nobody's finding that. And the green halo is just, it's just my glow of greenness today. So I should say hello to my three regulars who are in the chat. Maddie Jester, Brandon Howells, and Norman Buckwald, who just joined us. And thank you, Brandon. Thank you for noticing my hair. I just got it done this way today. And I really like it. It's something a little different. Usually when I go to get my hair done, everybody always wants to try to make it curly. And I don't know, I've liked it curly. I've had it curly for a while, but as it's getting longer, I don't. The curls are too much to deal with, and I don't want. I don't want to have curly long hair. I wanted to try something different. So this is layered. So I've got bangs up here in the front, and it hides my my baldness a little bit better than my previous haircut did. So I do like it a lot. So thank you, Brandon. So I've got the all those things out of the way. My wine cellar and my white wine drinking. My haircut. Those are the three changes that I wanted to start with. Now, what are we going to talk about? I am in the Chateau Picard, minus the Borg Queen, obviously. Obviously, if the Borg Queen entered my my wine cellar, then I would just have to burn the whole place down and just leave it. Like, why are you so cheesy? And that's what I have to say to the Borg Queen. Like, I would like cheese with my wine, but not your kind of cheese. Like, why are you so cheesy? And why are you such a mustache twirly villain? Go away. Yeah. What do you guys want to talk about? See, I love you three. But the only thing about E3 is I can't talk to you about Star Wars really. I will talk to you about Star Wars sometimes, but you guys are just like, yeah, I don't get it. Because Norman said it was actually burned down. Oh, there was rebuilt. No, it was rebuilt. Chateau Picard was rebuilt just for me. And actually, no, wait. That was in the future. So this is the 21st century. So I'm in the Chateau Picard before all that happened. As long as Picard doesn't come back in time and try to prevent me from going to Saturn or some weird vague thing that doesn't make any sense, then we're good. Let's see. Started watching Andor, 7 episodes in. I'm enjoying so far. Hope it ends strongly. Yeah, well, Manny, you probably haven't watched either Mark's or my reviews for Andor. But I don't know if you saw the title of Mark's review. Star Wars Andor Season 1, in parentheses, is overrated. Review. Mark and I are on the same page that Andor is overrated. It's fine. I liked it. I did like it. I just find it to be very slow. I find that the 12 episodes should have been cut in half. There's a lot of extraneous material that doesn't need to be there. And I think it's a lot of characters, extraneous characters that don't need to be there, especially the Cyril something, whatever, the dude with the black hair, like who was the cheap Empire knockoff security officer dude in the first couple episodes. Like, I just don't understand his existence in that show. So I'm not trying to take it away from you if you really enjoy it. I'm just saying Mark and I are on the same page that it is overrated, but I think I like it a little better than Mark does. I see the positives. I see a lot of the positive things that people are talking about with it. But I do think that it is a bit overrated. Yeah, Brandon says heard from Mark a couple days ago. He was heading for a heated pool. Yeah, he's in New Zealand right now. So yeah, I actually haven't talked to him since he got to New Zealand. Of course, we did our Enterprise discussion. Like, that was just like a couple days before he left for New Zealand, but I haven't talked to him since then, and that was only a week ago. So he's only been in New Zealand a few days now. He flew out Tuesday U.S. time, which would have been Wednesday. So he probably arrived Thursday New Zealand time. So he has not been there for very long. I want to talk about the fact that we finally got a trailer and a date for Star Wars: The Bad Batch season 2. Originally, so season 1 came out May 4th, 2021. For the May the 4th be with you. And originally, the rumor was season 2 would be May 4th, 2022. And then once it was clear that Obi-Wan was actually coming out in May, then it was like, well, that's not happening. So then it got pushed back to August. The Bad Batch did. Then I heard it get pushed back to October. And then I didn't hear anything about it for a while until now. All of a sudden, we get a trailer and a date of January 4th. So much later than was originally expected. But I have to say the trailer looks really good. And I have a hot take. The trailer of Bad Batch Season 2 looks better than Andor. No, don't kill me. It looks better than Andor. Like, Andor is overrated. And the reason why I say that is because I really am interested. The most interesting thing about the Bad Batch is that it is taking place in the most interesting time period in the Star Wars universe and the Star Wars timeline, for me personally, which is right after Order 66. That's where Season 1 begins, is during Order 66. And it's right after that, right after the fall of the rise of the Empire. I was going to say the fall of the Republic, but it's more like not really the fall of the Republic. The Republic just becomes the Empire. So it's like, well, anyway, it's like right after that. And I found that to be a very fascinating time period. And so that we can really start seeing the infancy of the rebellion. And it looks really good. It looks really exciting. And also, not only do I think it would be better than Andor, but I think it could tie into Andor pretty nicely, because Andor is a few years later along the timeline. Andor is between the Bad Batch and Rebels in the timeline. And I would love to see Mon Mothma show up in the Bad Batch. You know what would be really cool if what's his face showed up in the Bad Batch. Why am I blanking on that dude's names? And from Andor, what's his name? Scalbards, the dude from Thor, his character. I actually really like this character. Like, he was one of the strong points of Andor for me. I actually like that character quite a lot. Luthen was the character's name. Luthen is the character's name. It'd be kind of cool to see a younger version of him pop up in the Bad Batch. That would be very interesting. I would like that. I would like to actually see it tie into Andor to make Andor kind of more worth a while for me. Yeah, I actually wasn't talking to you guys specifically that when I said you'll kill me. I was just talking to general people out there who think Andor is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Which you guys, Brandon, you don't even watch it. Maddie's a little more than halfway through it. Norman, I don't even know. So I wasn't talking to you guys specifically. Just in general. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been expressing a lot of opinions on my channel lately that is against the norm. I did my, of course, my overrated and my underrated of Star Trek videos last month. And then I did my Andor review. And Mark put out his Andor review like the day before I did. And I watched Mark's review and I was like, damn, he said all the things I wanted to say. We're very much on the same page with Andor. And then last week I just did my overrated show of the year. And I already got one dislike in the first 29 views. Boo! Boo! You don't like The Boys? You don't get The Boys? Spoiler alert, my overrated show of the year is The Boys, season 3. Andor was a runner-up. My runner-ups were Euphoria season 2, Stranger Things season 4, which I liked, but is still overrated, and Andor season 1. Runners-up for the overrated show, but the most overrated show is The Boys season 3, and I got a very quick dislike, thumbs down. Boo! 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 But yeah, no, indoor, two totally different things, Brandon. I know what you're saying though. But I don't think of it that way. Um, I am actually I'm listening to the audiobook now of Dragon Reborn, which is the third book in the Wheel of Time series. And Elena is the main character in there, and she's like the princess heir to the kingdom of Andor. So it's weird. They don't mention it a whole lot, but whenever they mention, oh, the kingdom of Andor, I was like, you mean like Star Wars Andor? Like Andor, I feel like is an easy word that gets used in fantasy and sci-fi a lot for whatever reason, and then variations of it like Endor. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. They should make Star Trek Andor and show Jeffrey Combs. I'd watch that. Yeah, and then there's the Andorians. That's a good point. And I believe we had this discussion before. The Andorians are not from the planet Andor. They're from the planet Andoria, right? Did we discuss this before? I feel like we did in one of my previous live streams. I think we concluded they're not from the planet Andor, right? They're from Andoria or something. You've not watched The Boys Beyond Season 1, sorry. Yeah, in retrospect, I don't know that I needed to watch it beyond Season 1. To be honest with you. I got caught up in the hype. I got caught up in the whole, like, oh, yeah, it's it's an edgier, it's edgy. It's a different kind of superhero show. But I don't know. Norman, I wouldn't recommend watching The Boys at this point. I retroactively am now thinking less of the first two seasons. You can still watch my review. I didn't give a spoiler warning. I spoiled the crap out of season 3 of The Boys, but I feel like it's more like I don't feel like it's spoilers as much as you won't understand what the hell I'm talking about if you didn't watch it. Like I have not watched Better Call Saul, so when I hear Mark talk about Better Call Saul, because he was like over here at my place visiting when he was recording his review for Better Call Saul finale, the series finale, and I was like taking a shower and I was trying to do different things, but I would hear bits and pieces of it. And I didn't feel like I was spoiled. I just feel like I have no idea what he's talking about. So that's what I feel like my Boys season 3 review would be like. I don't feel like it's spoilers. So people call that spoilers, but I feel like if you haven't seen it, then you have no earthly idea what the hell I'm talking about. And you're not spoiled because you don't have the context. Without the context, it's not a spoiler. Now, if you had seen The Boys seasons 1 and 2, and hadn't seen season 3 yet, then you probably would have enough context to be spoiled. But if you haven't seen season 3 yet, then that tells me you probably aren't into it enough to see season 3 because you would have seen it by now. It came out like several months ago. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Norman says I've gone mute, but Norman, were you the one? Who was it? Somebody came in, Mark, and my Enterprise discussion and said the same thing. I don't remember if that was you, Norman. I don't even remember if you were there. Everything gets all mixed up in my head. Someone came in and said, "Oh, you guys are mute to me," and then everyone else said, "No, they sound fine." and then later, whether it was you or whoever it was like, "Oh yeah, no, I hear them now." So it sounds like one of those situations to me. Was that you who did that in the Enterprise discussion? Or was that, I don't remember. I get everything mixed up. This is not too bad. I like a good dry white wine every once in a while. You know what I really actually wish that I had right now in front of me is some cheese. I like white wine with cheese even more so than I like red wine with cheese. Whenever the few occasions that I drink white wine. All right, Norman. Good luck. Hope restarting your computer. I mean, when all else fails, like restarting your computer, like seems to be the magic fix for a lot of things. Like, I wish that worked for like everything. Like you can just restart anything, and then it'll be magically fixed. But it works with computers and phones, um, iPhones especially. Anything made by a Mac, anything made by Apple, um, but not just Apple. Obviously, Windows computers as well, um, and you know. Um, Samsung phones or whatever, non-Apple phones also. Are you a cheese fan? I like some cheese and crackers. Yeah. Yeah. I don't often get too fancy. Usually just a very sharp cheddar and some crackers with some wine is just fine with me. Um, you know, every once in a while, like some brie. I do love my blue cheese, but not just like with crackers. I love blue cheese. Like, um, blue cheese crumbles in like a salad. Mm, love blue cheese. Um, so do and get some cheese if you want. Yeah, I'm not gonna get up in the middle of my live stream and go and get some fucking cheese. No, I'm sorry, I'm not. I should have planned ahead of time. And actually, I don't even have like the right kind of cheese right now that I would want. I think all I have is pepper jack and then shredded cheese. I have pepper jack slices and shredded cheddar and shredded mozzarella. I don't have like a nice good block of extra sharp cheddar cheese. That's what I really want, but I don't have it. So um glad that worked out for you, Norman. As I was saying when you were probably gone, I think the computer turn off and turn back on again is the magical fix for everything. So I wish life worked more like that. You could just turn off everything and start over again, and then things would be magically fixed. Stinky creamy blue cheese equals Nirvana. Yeah, and I'm assuming you're not talking about the band. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I agree. Um, what else? I did want to talk about the Star Wars thing. Are you guys watching Prodigy? I know Brandon, you're not watching Prodigy. I can't remember Maddie or Norman if you're watching Prodigy. Yeah, I don't know. I go and I watch Jesse Gender and I watch Sean Farrakhan's of Trek Culture, and they treat it as if it's an actual good Star Trek show, and I don't get it. But it's actually better. I will say this: I think it's a lot better in the second half of the season, of the second tenet, which should be a different season. I feel obligated to say that every time I talk about Prodigy, there should have been 2 seasons of 10 episodes, not calling it all one giant 20 episode season that is spread out over 2 years. That's ridiculous. But in any case, this second batch of 10 episodes is much improved. But I still feel like overall it's a kid's show, and it was billed more as a family show, more as a show that, older Trekkies, adult Trekkies would appreciate as well. And then you have people like some of my favorite Trek reviewers, um, Jesse Gender and um, Sean Farrick going out and shilling for it. I mean, they're not shilling for it because they're critical of it sometimes too. So, and that's unfair to say they're shilling for it, but they like it as it is made for adult Trekkies, and I think that sometimes it is, but for the most part, it isn't. And I haven't heard Steve Shives weigh in on this yet. Steve Shives doesn't like Lower Decks though, so screw that guy. No, I'm kidding. I like a lot of Steve Shives videos. I agree with a lot of what he says, especially with Picard. And he was the first one to come out and say Andor is overrated. So I do appreciate him for that. But he doesn't like Lower Decks, so when it comes to that, screw that guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I assume he doesn't like Prodigy either. I've never seen him do a video on Prodigy. All right, let me roll back up here. Scroll back up here. Rogue River blue cheese. Oh Oh, that's local, right? For me, Rogue River. Ah, so good. Or at least in the same state, not like local, but it's in the same state. Cheddar Gorge isn't too far from me. A couple friends just went out on the tour and saw it. They kept it underground in these dry caves. Apparently, it makes it tastier or something. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like keeping it down in caves, keeping wine down in cellars. I don't know what it is. Everything's tastier down underground. I don't know. Um, Norman is watching Prodigy. The last episode may make the kiddies tired about the safeties being turned off already. Yeah, I don't know, that one. The newest episode was just filler. This is just why, like, they don't need this many episodes. Like, it was filler. It really didn't have anything to do with the main plot. We didn't see Admiral Janeway or the Dauntless at all. Not the real Dauntless until the very, very end. It was filler, and yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a unique holodeck episode because of the fact that, I don't know, just the concept of it was a little unique. That hologram. Well, I'm going to spoil it, but you guys don't care, right? I'm going to spoil it. The fact that hologram Janeway was like planning, like subconsciously planning it. She didn't know she was doing it, and to get them trapped in the holodeck indefinitely, and just setting them up with this mystery that they could never solve. That was interesting, but yeah, holodeck safety's getting turned off. I mean, it wasn't surprising. They're like, oh, the holodeck safeties are turned off. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm surprised it took you that long to say that. Of course, the holodeck safeties are turned off. But to be honest with you, like, I don't think that I would have put this in my 10 worst holodeck episodes had it come out by then, and certainly not in my 10 best holodeck episodes. There's a bunch of holodeck episodes that are kind of in the middle, like I would put it somewhere in the middle of all the holodeck episodes, but it's not that great, but it's not one of the worst either. But yeah, I mean, trying to introduce a whole new generation of Star Trek, so you gotta have your holodeck safeties being turned off. Have they did the virus one yet? I don't remember. Maybe in the first half of the season they did a virus one. They might have. I don't remember all the episodes, but they got to get that out of the way. They got to do the virus episode. They got to do the trial episode, which I don't think they've done yet. So you got to show the kids what Star Trek is all about. You got to have your virus episode. You got to have your falsely accused crew member on trial episode. And you've got to have the holodeck safeties being turned off. If it's a show that's set during holodeck era. If it's not, then obviously you don't have that one. But yeah. Let's see. Brandon asks, why are Prodigy seasons so long? Because I guess because it's a Nickelodeon thing. I mean, I guess that's just how Nickelodeon does things. That's just how they roll. But I think it's dumb. Yeah. I'm not sure I can get Rogue River cheese. I would doubt you could get it in Australia. I would be shocked. I don't think they export it to Australia. Let's see. Will Ferrell, number one. Thank you. Welcome. You're asking, do you like lore on Star Trek The Next Generation? And what do you think of him coming back for Star Trek Picard Season 3? I liked lore for I liked Brothers, the episode Brothers. I didn't like lore, although honestly, I don't know. I don't hate lore, but I only liked one of the episodes he was in, Brothers. I did not like Data Lore because it was such an insane, over-the-top Wesley Crusher as a Mary Sue episode. I couldn't take it. I can't take it. I can't. People will actually refer to Data Lore as one of the best season 1 episodes, and I think it's one of the worst season 1 episodes, and that's saying a lot because season 1 has a lot of bad episodes. But the fact that when Lore is pretending to be Data, he is so obviously Lore. Like, it is the most obvious thing in the world. He looks at the crystalline entity and goes, beautiful, isn't it? And everyone in Picard and Riker and Crusher are complete fucking morons. And they're like, oh, okay, Data, whatever you say, it's beautiful. That's perfectly within your character, Data. And then Wesley Crusher is like, that's Lore. And they're like, shut up, Wesley. And it's so annoying because Wesley's the only one who has any common sense, and the rest of the crew turns to morons. And I hate it. I don't understand why people think Data Lore is a good episode. It is the worst. Anyways, and then Descent. Actually, Descent Part 1 is okay. Descent Part 2 is a awful, terrible episode. The whole thing, and they did this with a Doctor in Voyager as well in the Equinox episodes, where they say they turn off his ethics program. So then all of a sudden, turning off his ethics program makes him hate his friends. No, turning off the ethics program should make him want to do horrible and evil things, twisted things to Lore, to the Borg, to his enemies. That's what he should want to do, twisted things to his enemies. How would turning off this ethics program change his loyalties? It wouldn't. So I hate Descent Part 2. And I also hate Equinox Part 2 in Voyager because they do that same thing with the Doctor. So do I like Lore? I don't know. I don't hate him, but I do hate, I guess if you count Descent Part 1 as 2 separate episodes, I hate half the episodes he's been in, including his first appearance. But my hatred of it doesn't really have to do with Lore, though, in any case. Like, it doesn't have to do directly with Lore. Now, what do I think of him returning in Picard Season 3? The same thing I think of Moriarty returning in Picard Season 3. Oh, great. They're going to ruin more characters like they ruined Q and Guinan in Season 2. That's my attitude right now. They can prove me wrong. Hopefully they will. Hopefully they will prove me wrong. But that is my attitude right now. Thanks for the question, Will Ferrell, number 1. I spent a lot of time on it. Let's move on down the list. Maddie Jester. If Picard Season 3 is mediocre, that will make it a million times better than Season 2. So yeah, like the song, The Only Way Is Up. I don't know what song you're referring to, but I do agree with you. That episode was TNG's emergence, pretty much multiple holodecks crisscrossing. I don't know what you're talking about. And Romance of the Week, don't forget that one. Oh, as far as the different types of episodes, is that what you're talking about? Geez, and I thought I was a cynic. Brandon, you are a cynic. I hate to break it to you, but you're way more cynical than I am. Way more. But that makes you endearing. Mark and I have often talked about that usually when Mark and I disagree on something, you tend to agree with whichever one of us is being more negative. So you're a cynic. Okay. But that's not a bad thing. Norman Buckwald Brothers is the closest to a good Lore episode, and even then, that plot point of Dr. Soon saying, "First, I'll take a nap," wonder what's going to happen next. Touche. I don't love Brothers. Like, I don't think it's like the best episode. I don't have it in my top 20 or anything, but it's a pretty decent episode. It's a decent one. Data Lore sucks. Thank you, Norman. I get so tired of people saying that it's like the best episode in Season 1. I considered it for my overrated episode list, but it wasn't high enough on the IMDb rating because I was relying pretty heavily on that. But just because I've heard a lot of people say that is a good first season episode when it is actually one of the worst in an already bad season. Let's see. And it sounds like Brandon agrees. Thank you. The best crew of Starfleet, Alyssa. See, this is the problem of me reading comments several minutes after you wrote them. I lose the context. I don't know what you're talking about. To Ransom. I don't know what you're talking about. I know Ransom is from. I assume you're not talking about Lower Decks Ransom. I'm assuming you're talking about Captain Ransom from Equinox, since I just mentioned it earlier, but I don't know. I am out of context. I don't know what you're talking about. 7 of 9s and chains on the table. Yeah. Yeah. Very similar to like Geordi, like torturing Geordi. Like, why would he do that? Turning off the ethics program would not make him turn against his friends. It would make him not have ethics and going after his enemies and going after lore. In the doctor's case, and going after Captain Ransom, he would have no ethics in that. So it's so dumb, so dumb. I hate it. It like bothers me so much. You mean Descent earlier? You said Equinox. No, I was talking about both of them. I was talking about Descent and Equinox. I might have said Equinox when I meant Descent, but I was interchangeably talking about both of them because they both have an AI who has his ethics program turned off and then inexplicably turns against his friends, which makes no sense. Let's see. There needs to be a Janeway Goes Psycho arc, or what say you? A Janeway Goes Psycho arc? Or you mean in Prodigy? There was one episode where they turned her evil. The Janeway hologram. Board Queen voice, Janeway. Let's see. Did you ever watch Brent Spiner when he was on Night Court? I vaguely remember that. Yeah. He was like, wasn't he like the he played this like country hit guy who like this dumb country hit guy or something. I used to watch Night Court all the time in the 80s. I loved it. It was like my favorite show. I liked it almost better than Seinfeld, actually. I might even say I did like it better than Seinfeld. It was so good back in the day. Yeah, I vaguely do remember that. Yeah. But I don't think I knew. I mean, at the time, I didn't know that guy one day is going to play Data. Like, I didn't know who he was. It was only like later on that I found out that was Brent Spiner. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. I didn't know that was Brent Spiner. Yeah. As long as you and Mark are still my friends, Alyssa, I'm a bit fragile these days. Yes, Brendan, we still appreciate you. And now we appreciate you because you're a cynic, among other reasons. It's good to have that cynicism. It's fun for us. Let's see, Norman Buckwald, Captain Janeway. What are you talking about? You're disputing Norman Buckwald's Vice Admiral Janeway. Brandon, you gotta catch up with the times. She's Vice Admiral Janeway in Prodigy, okay? Norman says he was an Appalachian poor guy with his family. Yeah. Yep. I do remember. But as I said, it was only in retrospect that I realized that was Brent Spiner. Like, as it was airing, I didn't know who he was. A Janeway Goes Psycho arc in Voyager. But Voyager's, well, I'm confused. Voyager's not on the air anymore. How can we have a Janeway Goes Psycho arc? I hope Janeway got to see the puppies growing up when she got back to Earth. No time for it in Endgame. Oh, okay. I think I vaguely remember what you're talking about. She had some puppies or something. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't. I don't know. Voyager's another show that's overrated. I'm sorry. Season 4 Voyager is the best season of the show and one of the best seasons in Star Trek. The rest of it, not amazing. Molly's litter. Isn't that O'Brien? O'Brien's daughter, Molly? What are you talking about? I don't remember these things in Voyager. I don't remember all these old details. I'm just not as geeky enough in Voyager because, as I said, it's mediocre. It's overrated. Don't know what to tell you. I'm wondering, Will Ferrell #1, if that's your username. Are you watching Elf a lot this time of year? um, I'm gonna say it took me a very long time to watch Elf because I thought it was gonna be stupid, and it is stupid, but it was better than I thought it would be. I'm just not a Christmas movie person, and I'm not a Will Ferrell movie. I don't think Will Ferrell's terrible. Like I think Mark does. I think Mark hates Will Ferrell. I don't. I'm just not super into his movies either. I do think Elf is overrated, but then again, I think all Christmas movies are overrated. I think. Uh, why am I blanking on the name of it? What was the one with the kid with the glasses? And then just double dog dare you, and he puts his tongue on the pole. And why am I blanking on the name of this movie? Or everybody, my entire childhood and teenagehood, especially, everybody would talk about what is a great movie. This is the best movie of all time. Overrated. So I just think It's a Wonderful Life. Never actually saw the whole thing, but it sounds like a pretty cliche plot at this point, even if it was maybe the first one to do it. So Christmas movies in general, overrated. But I don't begrudge you if you love Elf or love whatever the name of that Christmas Story. Christmas Story. Yeah, Christmas Story. Yeah. You know, the only one that I did genuinely enjoy when I was younger was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That one was kind of a classic for me. I mean, today I could watch it and probably still laugh at it, but I'm probably not going to go out of my way to watch it. But if I did happen to watch it, I probably would still take some enjoyment from it. That was probably the only one that I enjoyed. But and I'm not talking about the Christmas specials when I was a little kid, like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman. And I mean, those are classics for me. They're really good for little kid, Christmas shows. As far as Christmas, no! I thought another really good one, Scrooged. Scrooged is a classic. I do like Scrooged with Bill Murray. I think that's a pretty great movie. So not all Christmas movies are bad. I do like Scrooged. I did like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. But Elf, Christmas Story, super overrated. It's a Wonderful Life, I'm sure very overrated as well. I've never sat through the whole thing. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Janeway's Irish setter was, I don't know. Molly to me is Chief of Bride's daughter. It's called Equinox Part 2, Brandon. The Magnificent Ferengi is probably my favorite Ferengi episode. Mark says the same thing. Overrated. I don't, or at least as far as like Mark saying it's great. Overrated. I mean, it's not as terrible as other Ferengi episodes, but I wouldn't call it good. Let's see. Bad Santa. The share was full. What? That's a reference to something, but I don't know what it is. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Da-na-na-na. Yeah, I would put the Grinch kind of in the category as the original cartoon. Fuck the Jim Carrey movie, but I mean like the original cartoon based off of the Dr. Seuss story. That I put in the same category as like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Charlie Brown, and those sorts of things. That I do have nostalgia for because I watched them a million times when I was a little kid. The Jim Carrey thing, like that was bullshit. Like it was very ironic because when it came out, do you remember how commercialized it was? And the whole point of that story is anti-commercialization of Christmas. So like they're just completely obtuse, like completely ignorant of what the point of that story was supposed to be. Love the Carol Kane Christmas Present. Oh yeah, from Scrooge. Yeah, Scrooge is a good movie. I like Scrooge. Will Ferrell #1. Scrooge is another one of my favorites. Let's see. Brandon says, "Oh damn! I thought you were saying Alf. I can never grok that." Yeah, Brandon, you and I are a bit too old for Alf. So Mark is 5 years younger than me, and Mark was just the right age for Alf because I remember Mark really being into Alf, and I was like, "This show is dumb." Did you like John Glover's character Bryce Cummings in Scrooge? Okay, so you're getting into deep cuts. I like the movie. I haven't seen it in like 20 years. I have no clue what you're talking about. So I don't know. Maybe I should watch it again. It's the time of year. And then I can come back and answer you next month. I like the Magnificent Ferengi, but I'm not going to rave about it. Yeah, we're kind of on the same page, but actually, I don't know if like is strong of a. I don't think that might be too strong of a word for me. I think it's like not sucking as much as other Ferengi episodes is the way I would put it. I don't even know if I would say I like it. Maddie Jester says I like to go out on Christmas morning just in case someone's tossed me a coin and request a big fat Christmas goose. Why today? Today is Christmas Day. Then I doff my cap and scurry off to the bakery. Well, you're British, aren't you? So yeah. I just assume everyone and see. We here in America, we just assume everybody. The Britain is still stuck in the Victorian age. Everybody still dresses like that. Okay, I have on It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown board game when I was a kid. Oh, there was a board game. Yeah, I remember liking the Charlie Brown specials mainly for Snoopy. Like I couldn't wait for them to get to the Snoopy parts of it. But the older I became, the more I realized that I didn't like just how mean everybody was to Charlie Brown. And he was a nice guy. He was trying to do good, and everybody was like complete asshole to him. And I had a hard time with it, especially as I got older, looking back at it. In fact, I've used it as a comparison to other shows that I watched that use that same thing. What was the one that I was talking about recently? Oh, She-Hulk. When I was talking with Mark and Darren about She-Hulk, I was like, yeah, they do a little bit too much of the Charlie Brown thing, like how she's just trying to be good. She's a very sweet, nice person, but everybody's like, you suck. Everything you do is shit. You're terrible. Like, I can't deal with that kind of story. And I think that bothered me as a kid, but I couldn't quite pinpoint it. I didn't have enough experience and context to know why I didn't like it. Because I do remember that I always liked the Snoopy parts better. And now as an adult, I can put context to it and go, yeah, I never really liked how everybody picked on Charlie Brown needlessly. Like, it was unfair. Like, he didn't deserve to be picked on like that. Norman said, but I do always love the song. Like, actually, a couple of the songs. Like, I don't like Christmas music in general, but when I listen to Christmas music, I want to listen to the more unique Christmas music usually. But two of the classics that I can do are from that special, the Christmas time is near. I like that one. And of course, it's really the general Charlie Brown theme, but I think it gets associated more with the Christmas one, which is the do 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 dun 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 dun. I've heard a couple of different jazz versions of that are fantastic. And then, like, somebody will go off on like a saxophone solo. I think I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to find a jazz version of that after I'm done here. Let's see. Did Charlie Brown ever get to kick the football? He always seemed to miss. No, that was the thing. He always missed it. It's funny, like... I see that used as a political analogy a lot, especially on the Young Turks. The Young Turks like to use that as a political analogy that the Republicans um, are holding the football up for the Democrats, and they always try to kick it and always miss. And they still fall for it every time. Yeah, I don't think he ever got to kick the football. I think Charlie Brown kicking the football would be akin to the Coyote catching the Roadrunner. It just can't ever happen. Didn't I hear that there was some like cartoon like years later where the Coyote caught the Roadrunner and he was like, "What do I do now?" And he just let him go or something. I don't know. It was really funny. I went by Woodstock back in the day, and it was because of the bird, not because of the music festival. It's Magic Charlie Brown. He was invisible and he kicked the football, much to Lucy's bewilderment. I don't remember that. Why is Lucy so mean? Lucy was really mean. And a lot of them were mean. Like some of the like minor characters, like in that Christmas one, and like he just went and got a tree, and they're like, "Your tree sucks, Charlie Brown. What a piece of shit you are." And Lucy was the ringleader of that, but it wasn't just her. It was like some of these like side characters who were like I just can't get behind that. Like, why is really being so mean to poor Charlie Brown? He just was trying to do good and get a Christmas tree. Like, yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's see. I have an album of Australian Christmas carols that my family used to play every year. I am sure I can play it now that my mom is dead. I'm not sure I can play it now that my mom is dead. Yeah, maybe give it some time, Brandon. Maybe after some of those wounds heal, maybe you'll be able to play it again. But definitely can relate to that. Well, only halfway through the bottle. But if I drink it all, I have all of these behind me that I can choose from. Woodstock for the festival. A friend at the time gave me a big toy Woodstock. Yeah, I mean, when I was a little kid, like Woodstock for me was Little Yellow Bird. Like I didn't know. I was vaguely aware that there was some music festival, which is weird to think of for me, but that took place only 5 years before I was born. Because to me, it just seemed like because it was before anything that was before I was born, just seems like a gazillion years ago. But I guess you would have been alive during the Woodstock. You would have been like what, 5? If I recall correctly, you were 10 years older than me. What else, guys? We gotta at least make it an hour. These streams gotta at least last an hour. You know what else I used to like? There's the 1975 Saturday Night Live Christmas special. There was a skit that the Christmas episode, not a special, but I've seen it through Saturday Night Live Christmas specials. They all come out and sing Walking Through a Winter Wonderland. And what is it? Garrett, the token black guy in the original cast, who nobody remembers, and now I'm forgetting his last name, Garrett something. He's singing lead, and the women are cast members are singing the background, walking in a winter wonderland, and then like John Belushi and Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd come in and they go poop, ba-doo doo doop, ba-doo doo doop, ba-doo doo doop. I always like that. I always like that version. Like I don't know why. It's not like I was 1 year old when that came on. So I don't know. But I probably saw it for the first time when I was young. And I was like, I don't know, something about it. Like I won't listen to any other version of that song, but that particular version, just the way the harmonies all work together. For whatever weird reason, I have some nostalgia around that particular version of that song. Boop, Ba-doo-doo, boop, ba-doo, in the sleigh. I don't know. Let's see. Garrett Morris of Hard of Hearing. Our top story tonight. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Obviously, I only saw the 70s Saturday Night Live and reruns. My era was the Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman, John Lovitz, Mike Myers era, and then a little bit later on, Chris Farley and Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider came in. But that was my era, Saturday Night Live. Yeah, I'm sorry, Will Ferrell, number one, if you're still here. But when Will Ferrell and that crew came in, like, I thought it sucked. I have more appreciation for Will Ferrell now than I did then. But it was mainly, I think the cheerleaders thing was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. That's the second dumbest thing. The first dumbest thing was the Molly Shannon superstar thing. I was like, what's even the point of that? It's not even remotely funny. I don't know. Anyways, I digress. I did like some of the 70s stuff, though. I like when Dan Aykroyd did the what was it called? The Christmas, like he was the Dangerous Toys salesman. It was like, here's our latest fun game, Bag O' Glass. And he went out all these like just insanely dangerous toys, and then when he would try to say, well, all Christmas toys are dangerous, and I think it was Candice Bergen was the host, and she handed him like just a regular toy telephone, and he was like, oh yeah, well this is dangerous too, like, you know, little Susie's talking on the phone, and she's like bah, 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 bah. And he starts strangling himself with the cord. That was good. I think the Christmas episode of that first season of Saturday Night Live is actually pretty good. There's some really funny stuff on it. Let's see. Token Black Eye, I never thought you'd say that. Now you've said it in 2 successive streams. Brandon, I've said that many times. I think you just don't remember. I know you've heard me say it before because you've watched me. I've said Token Black Eye a lot. Although maybe I don't always say it on streams. Maybe I'm just saying it to my friends or whatever. But yeah. Token Black Eye. We're just calling it out for what it is. Like when it's just like, we want to pretend to be diverse, so we'll get one black eye. That's the Token Black Eye. There was actually this crappy movie that I thought was really, really unfunny. But did have one funny joke about a Token Black Eye, and that was, I think it was called Not Another Teen Movie or something. It was during that craze of parody movies, like after Leslie Nielsen made parody movies popular, a whole bunch of crappy ones came out, including all of the scary movies, the ones, a scary movie, like those were not funny at all. And during that same era, there was one called Not Another Teen Movie, which I thought was terrible, but there was a funny joke where there was one black character in that high school, because it's not another teen movie, so it was taking place in the high school, and he was like, hi, I'm the Token Black Eye. I say things like bling bling and whatever else he was saying. And that was like the only funny joke in that movie. But yeah, because any teen movie would have like the Token Black Eye. What do you think of It's Pat? I don't think that one aged well. Well, I never thought it was funny to begin with. Now it definitely did not age well. Now it is awful. And I think Julia Sweeney has come out on record and saying she's embarrassed by it because she just didn't know. She didn't know at the time. We didn't know. But so I didn't know to be appalled by it because of the way it treated gender at the time. But I also thought it was very unfunny, and it was just the same unfunny thing over and over and over and over and over. And I never liked It's Pat before I even realized how fucked up it was with its view on gender. I just thought it was Not very funny at all. Not even remotely funny. uh, I used to refer to Travis Mayweather as Token. Yeah, I did. That's the other time you're referring to. He was the token black guy in the Enterprise bridge. Let's call it for what it is. Nothing beats Airplane. Agreed. Airplane is a classic. Let's see. Surely you can't be serious. No, Manny. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Although, quite frankly, I don't give a shit if you call me Shirley. Actually, no, don't call me Shirley. That's not my name. My name is Alyssa. Let's see. What else would you guys like to talk about? Merryweather was a glorified extra that has less character development than Ayala or the bridge crew in Discovery. Wait, who is Ayala? I know who you're talking about, but I'm blanking. So just remind me. The bridge crew in Discovery. Yeah, and as I said in that discussion I did with Mark, when they do try to give him a backstory, they give him Picard's backstory. They give him the same fucking thing that Picard did. He has a brother that is like resentful for him for being this big fancy Starfleet guy and going out and abandoning the family business. He's got the they can't even come up with an original backstory for the dude. They have to give him Picard's backstory. And I'm sorry, I think they also hired a kind of a mediocre actor. Like, I'm sorry, he wasn't very good. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. People give Tilly a lot of shit. In ensign rankings, I actually put Tilly ahead of Mayweather by a lot. And this is controversial. I put Tilly ahead of Harry Kim. At least Tilly got to be promoted. I mean, she got promoted a little bit too much at first, but now she's just a lieutenant. She's where she should be. And I don't know. Tilly had some character development. Harry Kim was the same boring fucking character for 7 seasons. And no fault to the actor. The actor, I'm sure, is fine, but I put Tilly ranked above Harry Kim and Mayweather in the ensign rankings. So there. So I disagree with all the Tilly hate. Sorry. I just do. She's not my favorite character on Discovery, but as far as the ensign character goes, she gets the most hate, and I think she least deserves it when you compare her to Harry Kim and Mayweather. Let's see. Ayala was on Voyager. Don't remember. She's an instructor at Nell Starfleet Academy. Yeah, but she's a lieutenant in rank. Yeah, who I missed is I wish that they could have kept the what the hell was her name? Crewman something in Enterprise season 1. I thought she was becoming a little bit of an interesting character, but then the actress died. And they didn't recast her, so which is good. The actress passed away, so they weren't able to continue having her through other seasons. What's her name? You guys tell me. Crewman blank from the first season of Enterprise. Cutler. Thank you, Norman. I knew you guys wouldn't let me down. Tilly is an ancestor of Reginald Barclay? What do you mean? Yeah, very sad, Benny. Let's drink to Crewman Cutler, or the actress who played Crewman Cutler, who never got a chance to expand her character on Enterprise. I forgot to ask, what are you guys drinking? If anything. I know, Maddie, you're normally coming back from a night at the pub. I don't know if that's the case this time, but please share. Please share. We have reached the hour mark. I do need to make dinner fairly soon. I'm not saying I'm leaving right this minute or anything. I'm just saying we're in that territory where I might be thinking about getting off of here in the near future. But as long as you guys keep talking to me, I'll keep talking for a little bit longer. Tilly and Barkley are both socially awkward. Yeah, I don't know. I buy Tilly's social awkwardness a little more, though, because at least she can interact with it. And also Tilly, because here's why I buy it a little more, because she starts off as a cadet. Actually, she's not even an ensign. So for a cadet to be that socially awkward, I can buy. But to be a full lieutenant, not even a junior lieutenant, but a full lieutenant playing an important role in engineering on the flagship. We're not talking about a California class ship. We're talking about the flagship of the fleet, a full lieutenant. No fucking way. There's no way. I cannot suspend enough. There's not enough disbelief in the world for me to suspend to accept that. And also, he was more socially awkward than Tilly by a million miles. I could never buy Barkley as a character. Let's see. Water tonight, still recovering from a nasty upper respiratory flu I've had since shortly after Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, Norman. So it wasn't COVID. But you know what? At this point, like if you've been vaccinated, COVID and a really bad flu, what's the difference, honestly? They both feel pretty shitty. Like it doesn't really matter. So hope you are feeling better, Norman. Let's see. Brandon drinking cider because I've been recently orphaned. Oh, I'm sorry, Brandon. Mark told me about that. That's sad. I'm sorry. So you're drinking alcoholic cider? Because there's regular cider, non-alcoholic too. It was explained in Hollow Pursuits he was promoted to get off other ships. The captain wanted to get rid of him, so he gets promoted to go to the flagship. See, that I do remember that explanation now that you mentioned it, and that makes me buy it even less. There is no way that would happen. Like that is a shitty explanation. Like, so a guy sucks, so you're going to promote him and put him on the flagship to get rid of him? No, you're not going to do that. You're going to demote him and get him off of ships. You're not going to promote him and put him on others and put him on the flagship because you don't want him. That makes zero sense. So thank you, Norman, for making me believe it even less, for making it even worse than it was before. So thank you for that. Okay, anyways, tested negative. That's good. But as I said, if you're feeling shitty from the flu, like that's little consolation that you didn't have COVID. I'm making assumptions that you're vaccinated. I don't know, but if you're vaccinated, getting COVID is like the flu. And honestly, when I had it, the one time I had it a couple months ago, it's not even in the top 10 worst colds I ever had. Like it was nothing. Like I can't even believe it was COVID. It was really nothing. Like it literally is not. If I were, I like doing top 10s. I wouldn't be able to actually do a top 10 worst colds I ever had, but I know that wouldn't have made it. Let's see. Who is Discovery's chief engineer? It's not Stamets. He's the Spore Drive guy. It's not Tig. It's some no. I've always took it as Stamets was the chief engineer because the reason why he's the chief engineer because they have the Spore Drive. That's the but when it comes to warp related stuff, I do think it's Tig Notaro now. I don't know who it was before she came on, but I do think it is. But I thought they made it pretty clear at the start of Discovery Season 1 that Stamets is the chief engineer. Let's see. Bulmer, Saida, Alyssa, yes. Also been recently orphaned. So I want to say this without sounding insensitive, because I don't want to, sound like I'm insensitive to you guys losing parents, because I haven't yet, and I know it's gonna be awful when it happens. But once you're an adult, you're not eligible for orphan status anymore, right? I thought orphans were like kids who don't have anyone to raise them. So if you're an adult and your parents die, you're not an orphan. You're just like an adult whose parents have passed away. But maybe that's a cultural thing. I don't know. But in America, like I would think of like an orphan as a kid. Like you're not orphaned if you're an adult. Your parents died and it sucks. I'm trying to say this without being insensitive, but I just find it interesting terminology that you guys are using. See, boosted third time beginning of November. I haven't only gotten one booster. I need to get my second booster pretty soon here. Let's see. I was gonna say Hammer, but that's the wrong show. No, it's Stamets. It's Stamets. Yeah. Let's see. Thank you for the reassurance that it wasn't insensitive. I feel like it is a little insensitive nitpicking on language when you've just lost your mother. I'm just curious because I've never heard orphan used in that context before. God, I hear the word orphan and all I can think of is Little Orphan Andy. Little Orphan Annie. Sorry. That movie sucked. It's your stream, Melissa. I know, but that doesn't mean I get the right to like be insensitive and insult people. Like, let's see, guys. I think the time might be coming for me to wind this down. Okay, well, Maddie asks, will you see Mark at Christmas time? This is as big of a deal as Thanksgiving over there. You know, more turkey or something else? Different questions. Question number one, no, Mark is in New Zealand and will be through Christmas. But even if he was in the States, I am not planning to fly back east this year, so I would not be seeing him regardless. Is it as big of a deal as Thanksgiving? It is much more of a big deal than Thanksgiving is by a lot. But not so much to focus on food. I think ham is more of the typical Christmas dish, although we in my family have done turkey on Christmas. I think turkey is legit on Christmas as well, but Christmas is less food focused and more gift focused. So I'm sure it is in all countries that celebrate Christmas. It's no different in the States, but I would say it's like 1,000 times bigger deal than Thanksgiving, like not even close. Although Thanksgiving is more, the focus is more on getting together with family and eating a lot. So the focus is a little different, but Christmas is a much bigger holiday, in my opinion, for society in general. Now, for me personally, my biggest holiday that time of year is New Year's Eve. Like Christmas is like if I do decide to travel back to the east to the family, which last time I did was 4 years ago, and I'll do it that often. But when I do, then it becomes a bigger deal because then I'll get gifts for people and we'll exchange gifts and then we'll do the Christmas thing and whatever. But when I'm just out here in the West Coast by myself, I have my other brother. You guys don't know. There's a brother in between me and Mark in the age range. I'm the oldest, and then Ricardo is the second, and then Mark is the youngest. Ricardo doesn't like Star Trek or any of those things. That's why you don't know who he is. But he lives here in Portland, And every year I get together with him and his wife for dinner somewhere around the Christmas time. He was just texting me today to start getting the ball rolling to set that up. We may or may not give each other small gifts, but that's it. That's it. And the Christmas day itself, I was just thinking I will probably go for a snowshoe hike, which is something I often do on Christmas. Christmas day itself is just, if I'm not back east with the rest of my family, it's just like, I don't care. Like I'm not religious. Why do I give a shit about Christmas anymore? I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I have a lot of nostalgia for Charlie Brown and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman and all that stuff. It was a kind of very special holiday for me when I was a kid. As an adult, I don't have my own kids. I, live away from the bulk of my family. So it's kind of like, and I'm not religious. So it's kind of like whatever. I'm not a Scrooge. I don't hate it. This is not a big deal for me. New Year's Eve, however, that's when I go out with my friends. We go to see live music. We do something really fun. Now that I've transitioned, I will get a nice sparkly outfit on and look really pretty and just go out and have a ton of fun and drink and do drugs. So New Year's Eve, much bigger deal for me than Christmas. So I'm looking forward to New Year's Eve way more than Christmas. Christmas is just like, it's a day. It's a day of the week. I'll call my parents and say Merry Christmas, and that'll be that. What does a vegetarian do at Christmas? Eat vegetarian food. Norman says Tofurkey. Tofurkey is the most commonly known brand by you meat eater people, but it is like the least interesting and is the worst of all of them. There are many, many better brands, many than Tofurkey. Field roast is my go-to. They do a field roast loaf. It has like stuffed cranberry and stuff and stuffing in the middle of the loaf, and it is fucking amazing. This year I went for Quorn, Quorn. It is a brand that does pretty decent faux chicken. I like the chicken nuggets and chicken patties, but I had their turkey loaf this year, and I have to say it was the one that tastes the most like actual turkey. And my brother, not Mark, but my other brother, who is currently eating white meat, he was a vegan for a long time, but he's eating turkey and chicken now. And so he had actual turkey that he was eating at Thanksgiving, and he tried some of my Quorn loaf, and he said he agreed that it is the one that tastes the most like actual turkey. So I know you meat eaters think everything is Tofurkey, but Tofurkey is not even that good. Like it's the least brand. Like it's the worst brand of fake meat. And Tofurkey now, like it makes everything. Like it makes sausages, like fake sausages and fake deli meat, and I think it's mediocre. And all those, like it's like I will get it sometimes because it's cheaper, but it's not that good. So yeah, that's my Tofurkey rant. Tofu makes me nauseous. I'm an omnivore. Well, to be fair to Tofurkey, even though I think it's the least one, it really has nothing to do with tofu. It doesn't taste anything like tofu. It's just made from soy. That's the only commonality it has with tofu. Party girl, party girl, party girl. Okay. Oh, you have Quorn in Australia. Okay. Have you ever had it? You're a meat eater, though. You probably haven't had it. I tried to make plant at McDonald's and thought that was pretty good. Yeah, I just don't do fast food. I think Burger King has the Impossible Whopper, which I'm going to just assume is the Impossible Burger brand. And if that's the case, if I'm ever in a pinch, if I'm on the road and there's nowhere to go to eat, because like if I'm in bumfuck Wyoming or something, which I probably wouldn't be at this point now that I've transitioned, I'd probably be scared to be in bumfuck Wyoming. But if I was, going to get it a Burger King, getting Impossible Whopper would be a good solution because I like the Impossible Burger brand a lot. Much better than Beyond Burger, in my opinion. Beyond Burger has this weird taste. I can't quite describe it, but it's weird. But Impossible Burger. So if Impossible Whopper is the Impossible Burger, then I would eat that. McPlant, I have no idea. I just avoid fast food in general. I just don't, even if it has stuff that I can eat, I don't support fast food usually. But in a pinch, if I've got nowhere to go, I'm on the road and there's a McDonald's, and that's all I can have, I'll look for McPlant. I'll give it a shot. It'll be better than nothing, I'm sure. For the record, tofu does make me nauseous. Eggs, likewise. Something about the texture for me. Eggs make you nauseous too, huh? Intriguing. Any last minute thoughts? Anything else you want to throw out there before I leave? Because I am hungry, and also I have to pee, so I need to go pretty soon. There's somewhere by me called Dog Butt Lane. That's not a joke, totally real. Somehow that doesn't surprise me because there's just like the weirdest names for things out in the world. So, somehow that doesn't surprise me. Okay, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you for joining me with my rare drinking of white wine. I'll be back in January, most likely with a red wine, and we'll do this again. In the meantime, anytime I always say "in the meantime," I always think of the first episode of Deep Space Nine when Picard says, "In the meantime," and Sisko cuts him off and goes, "In the meantime." So that's what I always think. Anyways, in the meantime, what the hell was I talking about? I don't remember. I got distracted by Star Trek. Anyways, it is time for me to go. I'll see you all next month for this next live stream. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon, for the compliments on my dress. I like this one too. It's both simultaneously holiday themed and also Fish themed. Fish, the band that I love. So have a good holiday season, you too, Norman. That's been lovely to see you all, Maddie says. I hope you all have a great Christmas and New Year's and whatever way you celebrate. You too. All of you all have happy holidays. I'm assuming you three in the chat celebrate Christmas, so Merry Christmas. Anyone else who's happening to watch this, if you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays, happy solstice, happy December, happy week, happy day, whatever, and happy New Year. I'm gonna say this though, there was an inkling of an idea to do a second December live stream on New Year's Eve where I'll be in my New Year's Eve dress and just be all sparkly and celebrate with you guys. I'm not promising that because I think there's a good chance that is not going to happen. So let's just say I'll see you all in January. And if that does happen, then I'll let you know in advance. All right, everybody. I will see you soon regardless. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me in the archives. And I will see you all really soon. Goodbye.